Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast. I am your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here in downtown Lowell. Unicare is now WellPoint, new name, same commitment to Massachusetts and to its members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. And we thank our friends at WellPoint for helping to make this podcast possible, all of our Inside Lowell podcasts possible for that matter. And of course, I want to thank all of our Inside Lowell podcast sponsors, our friends at the Washington Savings Bank. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, from affordable to luxurious apartments for all. Boston North Company, business solutions for restaurant and retail. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and security to Greater Lowell since 1925. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on for over 41 years. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Tsongas Center here in Lowell. And with that, I want to welcome in our guest this morning. This is Wednesday morning, July 10th, and every Wednesday morning following a city council meeting, we talk to one of the city councilors. And today, we're going to chat with the mayor, Dan Rourke. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Teddy, how's it going? It must really kill you to say that. Huh?
I can't believe that the kid I tortured playing basketball at McPherson's, I have to call Mr. Mayor, but that is the title. And by the way, we kind of talked about this last time you were here. You were getting universal acclaim for how you run the meetings. How did you take these often 4-hour meetings and turn them into an hour and a half?
Yeah, we just try to give everybody the opportunity to speak what's on their mind, and if it gets too long, we kick it to maybe a subcommittee to talk about it a little longer and come back. But it's going well, and I thank my colleagues on the council for for their due diligence and their research. They come in, they know what to talk about right away, and we get to the point and we get the business done. So, and we're very good at bundling things. So if that's the case with votes or communications, we can get that done as well. And I think it makes for stronger meetings. Again, the more information is getting out at the same time, and once again, all the accolades go to my colleagues.
You also got a lot of acclaim for the way you handled what was a contentious couple of minutes in a meeting 2 weeks back on June 25th, and it, some folks said it could have been a much longer period, but you kind of put a lid on it. As you sit up there at the podium, how can you get this council to kind of work together and not have those public displays of sniping like they've had? What have you thought about that? Is that something you're trying to address, tackle?
Yeah, I think again, as long as we all just keep to the business at hand, and put the city and the residents of the city first, I think we'll be fine. Last night, there was some disagreement on a couple of different subjects, but again, it was civil, it was respectful. As long as we stay away from the personal digs and the personal shots, we'll be fine. And hopefully, starting last night, we do that from this point forward. All
right, let's talk about last night. The big thing wasn't even on the agenda, but it came up. Councilor 𝒔𝒐𝒑𝒐𝒊𝒏𝒕 asked for a suspension of the rules to talk about how to replace John Leahy on the Lowell City Council. The District 3 City Councilor had told us at Inside Lowell about a week ago that he had accepted a job with the Lowell School Department, would be resigning effective July 23rd from the council. And of course, behind the scenes, a lot of talk about how to replace him. Kind of coinciding with a home rule petition that was addressing this issue that's been there since 2021. And the change to the new hybrid system. So the kind of the two factions last night were special election versus the city council appoints. We actually going to be publishing an article on it in just a few minutes on Inside Lowell as well, that folks can read more details. But to kind of wrap it up succinctly here, the existing law, as it's written, and that's done by the state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for Plan E form of government, says the city council appoints. Ironically, it says if the city council doesn't do it, the mayor appoints.
30 days.
You're going to try to seize, you're going to pull an Alexander Haig and seize that kind of power?
30 days to get it done. So
okay. You got 30 days to get it done. There is a home rule petition that has been kind of winding its way through the legislature for what seems like forever, although this is a unique version that I believe was presented, in early May?
April, yeah.
Okay, to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to kind of deal with it there. last night there was some back and forth about trying to speed up that process, what you need to do to speed up that process, before ultimately the council decided by a 7-3 vote, with Councilor Leahy abstaining, to follow the current rules in place. The city council will make that appointment. Your thoughts on that? You were one of the 7 votes to follow that path.
Yeah, it really was our only thing to do. We did not have the opportunity for a special election. Following the law, the only option was to appoint. And again, this is the 3rd council that has worked on this home rule petition. You know, back in 2021, there was just 9 of us. We were all citywide at the time. We knew that the change in electing our government was coming, and we tried to address it. January, February of 21. Finally, in May of 21, we submitted a petition to the state. And to be very frank and honest, it sat in the Senate for 3 years. We had correspondence, and it died one time, and then it came back again the last term of this council for some revisions. Which was surprising, I think, to the council. I mean, if we asked to get something done, we feel it should be done, and that didn't work either. So we did it again this past term, and we submitted it. And I think the frustration that the council felt was that we have done our due diligence over and over and over again with no response. And I think Councilors Mercier and Councilors Jeunesse last night were terrific in their statements of stating, A, why are we here right now? And B, the only option we do have is to appoint. I think if you asked all 11 of us how we'd want to go forward, it would be an election. That's, and no one would dispute that. But that's just simply not an option. There was talk last night about, this get through the Senate, or, it was told through, I guess, through some of Senator Kennedy's staff that, this would be done within a week. Great. So, but, where's it been the last 3 years? And then secondly, it still has to go through the House as well. So, we couldn't rely on that. And again, I thought the solicitor was very good in his remarks. He explained everything that's on the table right now, where we started, where we've been, and what we have to do to hopefully get this done and done right. So we came to the Council Mercy made the motion last night to set forth an appointment, and that's what was voted on last night. It passed, and all those that are interested that live in the Belvedere District 3 area that have been there for over at least a year should submit their letter of interest and any other pertinent information to the clerk. And then we'll go from there. All
right, a lot to unpack there. I've got some questions. You talked about this has been a 3-year process with other home rule petitions that have kind of just haven't made the muster for whatever reason. None of the previous ones called for a special election, right? If I remember correctly, the earlier ones called for some form of council appointment or next in line steps up and replace, right? At no point did the city of Lowell or the city council, up until this year, April/May of 2024, send the legislature something asking for a special election.
I think the change happened this term because Councilor Leahy and myself had no opponent. So now we had to figure out a way of what would happen if someone who was a councilor left and there was no next person up. And, lo and behold, of course, it happens, right? Only in Lowell. So that's where we were stuck with. And again, we made the necessary changes once again. And we were where we were last night. And again, there was no clear answer to how fast this could get done. And we had to do what we had to do. And the state law says that this is the way we have to go forward with an appointment.
All right. I'm not going to criticize just you alone. You were part of, as you mentioned, 3 councils that have been, faced with this. Nobody foresaw possibility that a district councilor would run unopposed.
Yeah.
How could you guys as a body not foresee that? I foresaw it, and I'm the dumbest person around.
Well, I agree with that, Teddy. No, but again, we took it as it came, and the council that adopted the new way of voting for our government. We tried to look at all avenues of what to look at and how to go forward. We led to where we are. So, we hopefully we can get this done and get it done right. The solicitor spoke of, I think it was like 3 or 4 different issues that he would like to get resolved before we go forward. And and not be in this position again, because I don't think anybody is comfortable with having to pick somebody, but it's the only option that we have.
The solicitor, I'm glad you brought him up because he actually spoke last night and put out some more information that I don't think anybody knew. One of them being, he basically told you guys these plans and this non-binding referendum to have the voters select the mayor, that's specifically ruled out in the consent decree. You would need to go back and have that thing rewritten with the plaintiff's permission to have the mayor elected by the residents of Lowell. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct. 100% correct. Yep.
Okay. And then he kind of went on to say, based on the fact that it wasn't necessarily addressed in the consent decree of how you do fill vacancies in any scenario, he basically said, well, we should probably check. And he had said he initiated that conversation and is hoping to have it at some point during the week, if I remember correctly, with the plaintiffs and their attorneys to see what their thoughts on before you go any further.
Yeah, we were, again, last night was Council Janessa that brought it up, is that we don't want to, send something out and get approved, go through the legislature, and then we have to go back in court again to deal with it, and then maybe go back again for another petition, right? So, I think what we're going to do is maybe take a very brief step back, hopefully maybe send it to a rules subcommittee, get it done right, the right way. That's something everybody is comfortable with, all parties involved, and get it done as quickly as possible. So hopefully we're not in this position again.
And again, I'm going to ask the question nobody thought to ask them at any point. And this goes to the current administration, previous administration, 3 city councils. Yeah. It's talked about on social media. You've got to talk radio. I think we've talked about it here in podcasts with my Pod Squad colleagues. You really should check with the plaintiffs and before you do anything changing the elections in the city. Didn't seem. I guess my criticism is there just didn't seem to be any urgency anywhere except maybe in the bubble, quote unquote, the people who talk about.
Well, I would push back a little bit on that. I think the council has shown urgency because we've submitted different versions of a home petition. We've asked for it to be addressed, and then again, we were last night.
Okay. Let's the process going forward now, as you mentioned, the vote by Councilor Mercier, the motion by Councilor Mercier, seconded, voted on 7-3. The council's going to appoint. When? How will that process play out? Do you have a timeline in mind? Has that been decided yet?
Yeah. So I think we were talking about last night is hopefully everybody gets in their statements of interest by the close of the packet or the motion or the meeting. I think it'll be Friday, I want to say the 19th or the 20th of July, and then Councilor Leahy will resign at the meeting on July 23rd, and then after that happens, we'll pick a successor.
All right, so I'm going to tell you 2 people that told me they're interested, and that is also going to be in the story that we're publishing momentarily. Former city councilors, both. Rudy Young, kind of ironic because he had to step down from his seat because of a school job ethics ruling situation. He is interested both in an appointment or special election, he told me, before the council decided it was going to be appointment. And Corey Belanger has said he would be interested in an appointment as well. Both of them former councilors. Some other names have been bandied about. How are you going to, are they going to have to, is there an application they're going to have to submit to the council? Sure, how will the mechanics of this work for anybody watching it who said, hey, you know what, I live in Belvedere, maybe I want to.
Yeah, I would imagine later on today, we'll send out something that, to the local media and radio, newspaper and stuff like that to get the information out there of how to do it. Last night it was stated by the solicitor that as the body choosing the position for District 3 councilor, we dictate how the process will go, and so we're going to ask that everybody that is interested submit it to the clerk, and we'll put something out that has the clerk's email address. If they want to mail into City Hall, however they want to do it, notifying the clerk of the interest to serve, and then we'll go from there.
Does this get done at the next meeting is July 23rd? I think the one after that is August 13th. Which meeting does it get done at July 23rd? Or
It's last night. July 23rd was the date to decide. Yes.
okay, that was part of the motion by Councilor Mercier that was approved. All right, we'll see how that plays out. We're chatting with Lowell Mayor Dan Rourke. He's joining us here in the WellPoint studios at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Lots to talk about since you were last in here a few months ago. I have to take another shot at you because that's what I like to do. A couple of buddies and I, we've started calling you like Mayor Woke because you've been appearing at all sorts of events, and any event, any ribbon cutting you've kind of been at. And besides the stuff that's happening on the council floor and the political situations, a lot of it has been good news for the city as well. A magazine article, an online magazine article that featured you. There's a lot of positive stuff that's kind of seeming to come together at the same time here in the city, and I'm noticing you're seeming to focus on it. You know, a lot of negative stuff on social media. You've stayed out of that as best I can tell, and you're choosing to kind of put some positive messages out, including an op-ed you sent out around the 4th of July. That's a conscious decision, I assume?
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the important roles as mayor of the city of Lowell is to, show the good from the city, the positive aspects of what's going on. And, to be honest with you, Teddy, it's very easy at this point in time in our city because there's a ton of good things that are happening. I'm sure we'll get into Link and all those other good stuff. And, another part of being the mayor is to represent everybody. Right? We are a non-political body for a reason, and for whatever organization or group or flag raising, it's all what makes Lowell what we are, right? And I'll say it till the day I die, that we are the best city in the Commonwealth to live, to work, and to raise a family. And it's incumbent on myself being the mayor, and I think as any mayor to express that, whether it's through social media or coming on local podcasts, TV, and radio, is to show all the good stuff that's happening in the city of Lowell. And there's a ton of stuff going on right now.
So that Commonwealth, oh God, I'm forgetting what.
Capital Analytics.
Capital Index.
Analytics, yep.
Capital Analytics, that online website. I dug a little bit further into it once I realized that they did a feature interview on you. And that's a big publication for Fortune 500 companies. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this isn't a coincidence. The link announcement from UMass Lowell and the Draper Industries is probably spawning. We hoped it would spawn some interest in Lowell as a place for companies to bring their workforce and to grow. How'd that interview come about?
Yeah, so once the exciting news about Link had come out, and 10 parcels, and a guarantee of I think 1,700 construction jobs and another 2,000 high-paying salary positions that are coming to the city of Lowell, it creates interest, right? And they reached out to the mayor's office to talk about it. I'm more than happy to do so. We had a really interesting and positive back and forth with the people that run Capital Analytics and also the Invest Boston 24 magazine. It's a business platform that goes out to developers and leaders in different technologies and areas of commerce, and they reach almost 2 million people. So it's a real positive way of getting word out that we are Lowell, we have a ton to offer. We can't wait to go forward. This is not a 10-15 year project either. It's just 3 to 5 years. So come see us and talk to our DPD, and let's get a partnership going.
All right, and to that end, yesterday UMass Lowell announced that Mass General Brigham would be another addition to the Link area. They were going to bring some operations here. Mass General Brigham, I found out, is the largest hospital-based research enterprise in the entire country. They're now joining Draper Labs over there at Link. I think it shows the magnitude of what UMass Lowell is doing. It's nice to bring in mom and pop shops and restaurants and coffee shops and record stores, whatever else. That's great. We're talking about national entities that are now choosing to locate at UMass Lowell. How does that happen elsewhere? UMass Lowell is eventually going to run out of space at Link, and my understanding is they have many more big announcements coming, but there's a lot of land in Hamilton Canal still available. What can you as the mayor and the council as a body do to kind of tie in even more business development into that long awaited area.
Yeah, sure. And I think, situations like being, part of the Invest 24 magazine and the analytics and doing those interviews and getting the word out. And again, just expressing the positive of what we can offer as a city. We are diverse, we are hardworking. It's a blue collar city that, we welcome everybody. Schools are improving, and coming to another city in the Commonwealth today that you can start off in kindergarten and get your doctorate in, right? We have one of the best community colleges in the entire country, and we have one of the best state universities in the entire country. So we have a ton to offer as a city, and again, to be out there, and I know that the manager and our DPD team are out there all the time, and talking to these companies and bringing them in. We had word last night of another possible expansion at Hampton Canal that may or may not happen, but there's positivity around that as well. And again, when you have some of the biggest research hospital in the country coming to Lowell, Mass, that's something to celebrate and to be very happy about. I think the partnership between the manager and Chancellor Chen has been nothing short of tremendous. And again, you're seeing dividends that are being paid off immediately. And I expect more, like you said, we're talking about defense companies that could be coming to Lowell very, very soon as well. Major entities in their areas that are going to come and set up camp in Lowell.
What was the news about Hamilton Canal that came out last night?
Executive session. So
I was kind of half-assed listening because my kids, it was bedtime, and I'm trying to get my kids ready. Yeah. So nothing public yet.
Nothing public.
All right. What is public is that the city is actually making a pitch for the National Golden Gloves Tournament 2027. Right. You're going to compete with a few other cities. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about your chances?
Yeah, I'm very bullish on our chances. And just this past year, we had the tournament at the auditorium on Thursday nights. And the last 3 or 4 Thursdays, the auditorium was banged out. 1,500, 2,000 people. You couldn't walk in the hallways, and it was wonderful. It was a loud, energetic, boisterous crowd. And I think that representatives from the Golden Gloves that were there nationally, probably looked around and said, "Oh man, this is somewhere we want to be." When the possibility came up for the 2027 gloves, I believe it was Councilor Kim Scott that filed the motions for Lowell to go and put our city in for a submission. And we did the press release that just came out yesterday that we have submitted our proposal to be there. And I think sometime in September or early October, there'll be a gathering. I think it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that, all the applications, all the cities that want to be there to host will go down there and make their pitch. And wishing Lowell the best of luck. I really think we're in a great position. We did do it in 1999, which was phenomenal. And, we, again, for 2.5 weeks, the place was banged out, and I'm sure businesses in the area did very, very well, and that's what we're trying to bring back again.
Yeah, and to be clear, this is not every Thursday night is fight night thing that we have every year, which is a great tradition. Mm-hmm. This is the national tournament where those winners of the local tournament, the New England tournament, go on to fight for a national title. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it's a 2.5 week tournament. I think
last time I was in Detroit this past year. I think it was 16, 17 days.
Wow. Okay. Yep. And as you mentioned, Lowell has hosted it on multiple occasions, but the last time was 25 years ago, right?
1999.
What does the city need to do? I'm going to guess this is kind of like doing an Olympics bid, but on a smaller scale. You're going to have to go present what the city can do. I imagine it's going to cost money, right?
Yeah. So we did pilot the Lowell Sun Charities. And a couple of other organizations, and I think the bid cost was not too much, maybe 15, 20 grand to bid, which I think was a lot. All of it was privately raised because it's an exciting opportunity, right, to go forward and to do it. Obviously, Councilor Janess last night again spoke about the need for hotel rooms and the need for other areas to go and to dine and to shop, walkability, all those things that are important to city in general. But when you host a tournament like this as well. So, parking, we have that taken care of. So, there's a lot of, I think, things that are in our favor for the city of Lowell. And, I'm very confident going forward that, again, we sat with the national president of the Golden Gloves in Lowell this past year. And Mr. Russo was very, very excited and awestruck by the reception that the gloves got on a local level in the city of Lowell.
And he may be a little biased because he's been promoting the local Golden Gloves tournament for a few years now. So it sounded like this isn't kind of like the Olympics are, where you have to build all these huge facilities and bridges and roads or whatever. You can use the already existing facilities.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be, maybe obviously we use the auditorium, but the Songus I think would be an available spot. I think that back in '99 when we were there was 3 separate rings at once going. So I imagine it would be something similar to that. I was hoping to go to Detroit this year to check it out, but timing wise it didn't work out. But from what I hear, the representatives from the Sun Charities and from the local Golden Gloves organization did go, and they were very positive, very excited that Lowell could do this and could pull it off.
All right, good luck on that. That's exciting as a sports fan and a boxing fan. That's great. One more thing I wanted to hit on before letting you go, and that was it came up at last night's meeting. The recent Supreme Court rulings, a couple of them may affect how Lowell does business, or proposals that have been in front of Lowell, and specifically the one on the allowing an overnight ban on camping. And apparently some cities are kind of saying an all-day camping ban. Councilor Robinson had made a motion about that, and that Supreme Court ruling appears to have said, hey, if you guys want to do that, you can. Do you think now that it's allowable, that this is a step that the city should take? I know you're just one of 11 votes, but...
Well, no, again, that was a motion that was made last night, and it was talked about and it was passed, to see the recent decision by the Supreme Court to look into, not only the camping situation, but other decisions that have been made, right? And I think, what we're looking for is just more tools in the toolbox to combat this problem. We had our health director and our homeless coordinator and our police superintendent there last night. Once again, for probably the 5th time in the past, 3 or 4 years, they went over the protocols, what they do, how they do it, why they do it, and it's all based to assist. It's to offer resources and to do what we know is the right thing, that the people that have these problems, whether it be drug, alcohol, mental health, to best assist them. And if that doesn't work and there is criminal activity, that's when the police come in and have to do their job. And, this has been going on for a long period of time now. And again, we'll see what the ruling is and how it affects us personally in the city of Lowell. And, I'll be looking forward to that by the solicitor, and there'll be a review of all the new policies, procedures that can be done and that will be done, and we'll go from there.
The understanding that I kind of took from that ruling, and it was based specifically on the Oregon case and their ban, was that you also had to ensure that there are alternatives before you can go kicking people out. There have to be beds, for lack of a better term. There's been a lot of back and forth about that the last couple of years. People showing up at the council meetings and kind of battling with all of you folks about whether there are enough beds. Are there enough beds in Lowell for the homeless population at any given time, and especially in the winter when they're most needed?
That question was asked just last night directly to the homeless coordinator. Do we have availability? And the answer was yes. The shelter in Lowell on Middlesex Street, I think, holds 90 to 95. And then in the wintertime, they go up to 130, 140. And people, again, the services and the ability to help is there. I think the situation that we find ourselves in all the time is those that don't want any help, because look, when you go into a facility or you go into a shelter, there are rules that have to be followed. And if those rules aren't followed, you got to go. And people don't want to follow the rules for some reason or another, and they choose to live outside where there are no rules, I guess. So hopefully this ruling is going to assist us in that as well, because if you can't follow the rules and be in a facility or be in a shelter, now you can't go and hang out at the South Common, for 20 hours a day.
So that's one of the things that I think needs clarification. And you've tried to do it a couple of times on the floor, as have other counselors, because you hear the anecdotal stories. Somebody went to the shelter and was told no, was rejected. Are they being rejected? Are you sure that they're being rejected because of other issues and not because there are enough beds?
Teddy, if you go to the shelter with an axe on your shoulder, or you go to the shelter and you are under the influence, and you're acting accordingly to that, they're not going to let you in. There's a safety protocol that you put in place. But if you show up, they will take you. They turn nobody away. And also, say if you want to do the shelter, you want to get help with an addiction, you want to get help, the city of Lowell will take you to a local hospital. They'll take you somewhere, an outpatient program. They will assist you with, mass health and getting a social security card. I mean, we go so far above and beyond. And that's because we are right. We care about everybody that's within our city, and the opportunity, to get help is there. And it's those that refuse that want to live outside and that want to unfortunately do drugs and commit crimes at some point in time, and whether it's using propane tanks and trees are involved and tents, that stuff we just can't have. And that's where it leads us as a DPW or as a police department to clear out camps, because it becomes a danger not only to the people that are there, but to the residents that live about and around the area as well.
You mentioned that the city will put somebody up in a hospital if they have to. That's not an ideal situation. No. Are there other facilities?
But we have to start.
Places?
Right. We have to start somewhere, right? If someone is under the influence of drugs and alcohol, they have to go and get clean or through detox first, right? Places aren't going to just take somebody that's drug, alcohol addicted, because that goes against what they're trying to do in the program. So this is not just Lowell, it's not just Massachusetts, this is pretty much everywhere. If you are under the influence of drugs and alcohol and you have to go through a detox process, you have to do it before you can go on to outpatient services, before you can go on to a residential home. But again, if someone shows up at the shelter and they need shelter, they'll be taken care of.
So that's one of the things I wanted to focus on is, are there enough, wrong camera there, are there enough detox beds? Is perhaps instead of focusing so much on a shelter or a housing for somebody who needs detox and then outpatient services, should the focus start being on, hey, look, we need more detox facilities so we don't tie up the hospital, so that then the mother who shows up with a sick 3-year-old doesn't have to wait 10, 11 hours in a hospital?
So I'll give you a quick anecdotal thing. I've been a probation officer for 25 years. Right, we have sent numerous people to Tewksbury State Hospital, the TSS program, their respite program. Every single phone call that I have ever made, that a colleague has ever made to send somebody there, they had never been told once, we cannot take this person.
Okay. And the single mother who shows up with a child or 2 children in tow to get out of an abusive relationship, if they show up at the shelter,
we have places just for that. I know that the CTI has a shelter, the House of Hope, the Alternative House, they have shelters as well that will take in, women that are in that situation that may or may not have children as well. And I've told this story many times before, and I'll tell it quickly again. Last year, the Lowell Police, our co-op program, our health director, our homeless coordinator, they showed up to South Common with a school bus. Right? And they went through everything. Everybody that was there, they offered them services. All you got to do is get on the bus. The bus got there empty and it left empty. So, what are we there to do at that point in time? And so when, you see someone using drugs and you see that the law being broken, the police have no choice. They bring that person in.
All right. And that despite everything we just said in the last 10 minutes of discussion, at some city council meeting soon, someone's going to say they're wrong. There aren't enough beds, and you need to do more.
And
as a city.
I know we're wrapping it up, but again, it's always asked of Maura Fitzpatrick, who's our homeless coordinator, and Lisa Golden, the health director. Have you ever turned anybody away one time for help? And every time they answer us, the answer is no.
All right. We'll leave it there.
Right.
Mayor Dan Rourke, thank you for taking the time to join us. Lots of good stuff happening, lots of fun political chatter as well. And you're, as the mayor, you're right in the center of it.
Sounds good, Tate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Rourke, and thank all of you for joining us as well on our latest Inside Lowell podcast. As we like to say, Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place. Stay safe, everybody.